Is the great acceleration really leading us to a new step in human evolution? Is human expansion really making us an evolutionary superior being? It seems that culture is getting confused. What's the difference? Welcome. My name is Dr. Marika Bouchon. I am a researcher in topologic ecology and an atypical thinker. I focus on ecology of health, the health of any system, and my expertise lies in cognitive anthropology and frameworks of thinking. Before you watch this video, please view the video introducing the cognitive animated geometry so you have an idea of what to expect here. I will use the computer animation, to discuss an example, namely how to understand the difference between generic notions of biological growth, development of phenotype or in embryology, evolution of species, extension in deep philosophy, and common notions such as progress, advancement, economic growth, sprawling cities, spreading into wild nature, human expansion, etc. First, let us watch the raw animation. I will explain later. In this section of the animation, the colors correspond to the many perspectives and frameworks. The growing surface of the cone and the arrow figure the shape of the human notions of progress, advancement, expansion, or growth. But what is the difference between this and the physical notion of evolution? This can be resolved by unfolding back the cone into the original flat surface. Here, the orientation of arrows or ladders of progression matters for the confusing notion of development. On the folded cone, the arrows look kind of vertical, although with a bias due to the angle of the cone. But when unfolded, we now see that the arrow line was actually still crawling on the surface of the cone as it expanded, and now it has come back to the original shape in linear thinking, a line crawling on a flat surface. The folding made it appear more vertical, but topologically it's still on a surface, so horizontal. At this stage, the confusion is lifted easily because we associate biological growth and appearance of fundamentally human basic abilities and mental faculties with the vertical axis of our standing, growing children and tree growth, whereas we associate the endlessly diverse and increasing array of capacity with expansion, spreading, or topologic surface stretching, horizontal. The arrow on the two-dimensional surface is very different from the understanding of evolution as an orienting change in the 3D space of living. The orienting is that of the cone axis, and it can go both ways. On the other hand, the humanity's notion of a ladder of evolution goes only one way, like an arrow, and adds a hierarchy. This linear idea of evolution is topologically reduced from a surface distorting in 3D space to a 2D surface spreading in a one-dimensional direction. Stephen Jay Gould tried to explain this, but complained that the scholarly and scientific literature did not contain enough images. Hopefully, this video goes towards changing that. This linear idea of evolution is a reductionist and limiting understanding, the kind used by a neurotypical mind that only visualizes on what is called the screen of the mind, that is, a two-dimensional intellectual surface, like at the movie theater, that cannot apprehend the difference between its reconstructions and pattern of activity and the topologic properties of the observed 3D moving space. Here, reduction refers to orders of logic and the dimensions of geometry, not to measured size or scales of counted magnitude. My aim is always to use this animated geometry to simplify the complex details that bring confusion in order to extract the most essential understanding needed to stay on track. Thank you for taking the time to consider this presentation.